I'm sorry, but why is there a literal ship called Bychance between Will Byers and a background character trending on fucking Twitter? Or anywhere, for the fact. Why is there a ship, and why does it exist? Alongside with Byler, between the two characters of Mike Wheeler and Will Byers in the entire series of Stranger Things, there's been this sudden rise of a ship called Bychance that just suddenly exists for no reason. To give some context, there's a character named Chance that is showing up in between Season 4 and Season 5 that's a part of the whole athlete team or the basketball team. Barely has any speaking lines at all. I say barely because I don't even know if this character even speaks. And throughout Season 5, the entire character just kind of is just a background character. Even in the epilogue is a background character. What genuinely confuses me about this entire ship is why did people just suddenly start bringing up a ship that shouldn't even exist in the first place? Now, Byler. I know there's a ton of people who hate the idea of Byler either because they're a bunch of homophobes or just don't feel like that the entire ship in itself is canon. But at least if you look at the evidence, you could at least say, okay, there's maybe a chance. But by chance? There's no interactions between Will and Chance at all. People will say maybe there's something that happened in the background, like there was this whole rival relationship in between Chance and Will and everything. I don't know if that's true or if it's even canon at all. Season 4, Chance comes up. And there is no interactions in between Will and Chance at all. There's none. So there's no, chance of this thing coming up at all because, well, Will was obviously at fucking California or at least getting to Hawkins throughout Season 4, while Chance was just a background character and didn't even, there was no interactions, just baseline. Now, Season 5 is when Will goes back to Hawkins because, well, I don't know why they never left Hawkins in the first place just to go back to California. That's never something that's never addressed throughout the entire series. The two characters have some interactions, because I say that with a grain of salt, but never interact that much. And the only theory that I have to say that this ship has been feasible is because of the epilogue scene that was brought up because of Mike's imagination of Will's epilogue boyfriend, but at the same time it's there was no interactions in between the two characters in Season 5. I mean, the closest thing that there was is Dustin and the bullies, but that was it. Or maybe the graduation scene, but there's no lines from Chance at all. And that's why I'm I think this confuses a lot of people, including myself, because how did people come up with the idea of the ship being, I don't know. I don't get the idea of how the whole ship came to be. Another reason why I feel like the ship is brought up is because people are trying to get rid of the idea of Byler happening in the first place, or just fucking hating on Mike Wheeler for not taking the chance with Will, and saying that Will should just go on his own to be able to just fuck different guys.
It's not my fault you don't like girls. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
I see literally a bunch of posts from people that literally have Mike Wheeler just getting pissed off at Good Luck Babe by Chaperone. And just that being one of the big points of how this whole ship also ended up starting. Still, it's no, the two characters interacted a lot in the entire series, but Will Byers and Chance never did. It feels like a lot of people are just pissed off the fact that the two characters never ended up getting together. Of Byler never happening or never happening as in that so-and-so's case, to even making up a ship that never canonly could even happen because the two characters never even ended up interacting with each other. It's not feasible. It really is not feasible. I really don't get it. I don't get it at all. Even on Twitter where a lot of this stuff is at, I mean, there was a bunch of Reddit posts that ended up coming up for it. But you can literally go through Twitter as it is and see a bunch of different posts under hashtag Bychance. Literally had to search it up and already I found material. If we had had some form of interactions in between Will and Chance, then that would make enough sense as it is. But because there was no interactions in between the two characters from Season 4 to Season 5, even Season 5 was lackluster in between these two characters, There is nothing. I get there's people who make fan art and people who make fan fictions out of the ship, which I do admit some of the fan art was actually pretty good, especially this piece. The fan fictions would probably make a lot more sense because, well, at least we know those aren't canon as it is. Byler in itself, I said, was canon because of certain elements of the epilogue and that stuff that kind of added up to making it more or less canon. This is just a weird ship. It's a really weird ship to look at because it's like, how could you make a ship happen if the two characters never ended up interacting in the first place? It's like shipping two characters that ended up existing, like, not even in the same universe, and just saying that these two characters deserve to be together, and it's odd. It's very odd. Again, Byler makes a lot of sense because at least there was a lot of interactions in between the two characters, Mike treating Will a certain way and then Will treating Mike a certain way. There was a lot of elements that added up to this ship being canon, even towards the epilogue. Like, I made a video talking about why it's canon, so I'll link that video in the description below or it'll be up here. I would say that if this was a case where the Duffel brothers had actually gone out of the way to make a storyline where Will and Chance actually did do something, where there was a clear indication of the two interacting and Mike was jealous of this and so, but that never ended up happening, which is sad to know because, like, I felt like that would have spiced up season 5. It would have actually made a lot of sense. And it could have even led off to a spin-off of, like, how did the two characters end up meeting that stuff, but it just doesn't happen to make, like, I don't know. It just all just kind of seems like a random ship that just comes up overnight and just suddenly becomes a big, like, thing in the Stranger Things fandom. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below of this ship, and I plan on talking about a few fan fictions of it, but, I mean, still Byler is better, because at least I know the two characters at least had a good time together.
Well, it is true.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this little random video on Bychance and why the fuck does it exist. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later when I talk about Byler related things. Yeah, bye.